Salam alaikum. I need you to pay close attention because I've been meaning to do this for quite some time. Today's the day. This is a two-part series of the origins of the word anti-Semite. So let us begin at the beginning, what you can learn from what is published online and before that in books, somehow considered to be historically accurate, which of course, when we speak about the way back past, most people don't really care if it's historically accurate or not because there's been a certain, let's say, emphasis on some people. Their origins may be Hebrew or perhaps Greek, or many other terminologies that have been thrown about, like Canaanite, Semite, Aramaic. Well, of course, we said Hebrew, Chaldean. You name it, they've put their 2 cents in. So now I'm going to put my $1 million in, or maybe more. But we're going to begin at the beginning with etymology, the root of the word, or so they've said, and gotten away with it for so long. Till now, inshallah. So let us begin. If you look this up, and you will look it up in, of course, Google. Sheikh Google, we call him. Oh, now we have AI overview, so does that kick it up a notch? I don't know, but let's read what they say. The word Semite, etymologically, originates from the name Shem, one of the sons of Noah, in the biblical narrative of the Great Flood. We say Noah. They say Noah. Actually, in Arabic, we also say Noah, but we spell it N-U-H. Here it is N-O-A-H. So it would actually be Noah, but really it's Noah, because that's what Quran says. The term was initially used in the late 18th century to categorize languages, particularly those of the Near East, such as Hebrew and Arabic. Notice they always put Hebrew first. That's another one of the little psyops they do, is to always say that Hebrew is the original language, which of course is ridiculous. But we're going to go on. It's going to be a two-part series. Hebrew and Arabic that were thought to share common roots. Well, that is true. Later it came to be applied to the peoples who spoke these languages. Biblical origin. The name Shem is found in the book of Genesis, where he is identified as one of Noah's sons. In the 1700s, scholars began using the term Semitic to classify languages like Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic based on perceived shared linguistic features. Well, I won't say that's a lie. However, can we know what are the shared linguistic features? Yes, of Hebrew and Arabic we can, because we have those languages intact. But Aramaic is always, that's the lie that they build the Jesus story on, that Jesus spoke Aramaic, and leave that for now. Over time, the term Semitic and its noun form, Semite, expanded to encompass the peoples who spoke these languages, including various groups in the Near East and parts of Africa. While the term historically referred to a broader group, it is now often associated more specifically with Jewish people, partly due to the prevalence of the term anti-Semitism. So we're getting close now. We're getting closer to the truth. It's important to note that the association of Semite with a specific race or ethnicity is a later development and not its original meaning. The term's initial purpose was to categorize languages. Oh, good. Now, where are we going now? Very interesting. The Canaanites were Semites with origins which lay in the Arabian desert, and quite possibly in ancient walled towns which were very similar to Anatah, Natah. Kingdoms of the Levant, Semites, Semitic speakers, Canaan. We can perhaps give you a little bit of that, but that might be a little bit too, it's too lengthy. I really want to make this short but sweet until I get to part 2, because now we're getting into things that we can never really prove, like early Bronze Age. And you know, all these things that were put forward that you're supposed to swallow as though it's, pardon the euphemism, but as though it's gospel. Remember, we used to say the gospel truth. Who said so? Well, we Muslims know that the gospel was changed. Much of it, the gospel meaning the New Testament, is true, but much of it is changed. So I don't want to take up too much time going on and on here. We get heads, we get statues, and I've often been amazed how when they talk about the Sumerian kingdom, Sargon the Great. Now, this is important though. Sargon the Great, and supposedly his dates are Christian era, 2334, and then BC, 2279. So let's just say he reigned, let's say, for 1,000 years. No, almost. I'm not good at math, but 700 years. And he was a king, and in every single picture of the ancient Sumerians, they had these long beards, long, curly beards. Not just a long beard, a long, curly beard. And you can always see them when you're reading something about the ancient Sumerians, how they looked. Now, of course, statues can be made. I could make one right now to look right like this if I wanted to be a sculptor or an artist or something. So we're going down to the Middle Kingdom, and then it's too wordy. I'm going to go back up. There's another picture of them. Now this is another group. The Amorites, Semitic-speaking farmers from the south, who integrated into Mesopotamia, and then Syria, and then Canaan. In the same period, the language of the Amorites disappears from southern and central Mesopotamia. However, in Syria and Canaan, it becomes dominant, with perhaps Ammon being the southernmost state to have Amorite influence. The Assyrian inscriptions from about 1100 BC, we have the term Amaru, not Amorite, Amaru, designates part of Syria and all of Phoenicia and Palestine, but no longer refers to any specific kingdom, language, or population. Now we're getting closer, let's say. You know, these languages, they're telling you that they evolved, and their references evolve. So what do you make of that when you're trying to figure out what is an anti-Semite? Well, fortunately for all of us, we have the Quran. That's part 2 now. You're going to have to bear with me for this, though. The Israelite conquests of central and eastern Canaan are led by Joshua. Now, here we have the Bible, Joshua, Old Testament. But they appear to take place over a span of time, probably 10 or 20 years, if not more, even referring to many of the conquests as city-states may be generous. Well, that's good. At least he's being critical. Many could be little more than obscure settlements and small tribes, which are taken over piecemeal. Many also have not been pinpointed by modern archaeology, although educated guesses abound. See, we have an issue now in America where it's a crime to say the word anti-Semite. It's like you are literally punching someone in the nose. If you use that word anti-Semite, if you use the word anti-Semite, they will use the word anti-Semite. It's if you mention the word Free Palestine, let's say, or if you question anything that has been put forward by, they use the word Jews. Okay, I don't use this word, and I've told you why I don't use it. Because it's etymologically illegitimate. There is no real proof that these sons of Israel were called Jews. I could do a separate lesson on that too. But right now we want to stay with the Semite business. So we can do part 2, which is really the best part, when I'm going to give you what does Quran say about that. Look at this. Is Palestine older than Israel? In the 1st century, when the Jewish civilization in Israel was already 1,000 years old, Rome destroyed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem and conquered the Jewish nation. At this time, the Romans renamed the region Palestine and exiled a portion of the population. Okay, I don't want to go too much more in the history because it's very vast, and I've done some last year on the history of Israel. I think it was during Ramadan. However, it's so interesting, though. I really do want to give you more and more and more, but I really can't, because Semitic people's origin, they're telling you they're in the Near East, especially in the Middle East and the Arabian Peninsula. That is the Semitic people's origin. So now, what is the exact location? It's debated. Some scholars propose an origin in Mesopotamia, while others suggesting the Levant or the Arabian Peninsula. The term Semitic itself is a linguistic one, referring to a family of languages which includes Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic. You know, when we say the word the language family, yes, it is true. There is a language family. And they are purporting that the family, which is Semitic, is including, as XYZ, as I just told you, but primarily Arabic and Hebrew. Is that a problem that we say Semitic? Well, we've just taken it. We've swallowed it without any real analysis until now. Because now there's been more or less of a slur connected with it. You're anti-Semitic. And do you know the Arabs would always say, you can't call us that. We're Semitic people. You can't call us anti-Semitic. Well, we live right here. We live in Syria. We live in Jordan. We live in Lebanon. We're your neighbors. We're as Semitic as you are. Don't call me an anti-Semite, because I'm a Semite. Oh, really? Are you? Part 2 is going to explain everything. I'm going to start it now. Get ready. Hold on. You will be surprised and you will be satisfied, because I will give you the words of Allah about this subject, after which there is no doubt. Assalamu alaikum.